if it gets cold. These microphones are on. Well, we can take it out of the stand. You can just hold it if you want to just hold it.
Okay. If they can, yes, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So, thought we do, you and I would talk for 45 minutes or so, and then we'll ask questions. People can ask questions. Give it a minute or two, I think. Yeah. There's still folks kind of filtering in. Yeah. I don't think so. You good?
Water.
Do you want more water than that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want more?
Yep.
Yep, I do. Yeah.
Yep. I will drink and keep drinking. I know.
Yeah. No, we don't have
No, you know what?
big
You can
cups.
just fill it up.
Yeah, I'll fill it up.
Yeah, just fill it up.
Yeah, we should buy some and invest in some bigger ones, yeah. We've had a long
Yeah, we will today.
museum.
Yeah, we shot this morning. Get a park on the way.
Okay.
To museum route.
Okay.
Yeah. Long day.
Yeah.
But the museum is great.
Was it? What did you see that you liked?
I went to the Asian park.
Uh-huh.
But it's very nice, you know. I went. It's also a religious park together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that.
Did you see the tea house? Like the sort of indoor, outdoor. They have like a Japanese tea house that they've built to size, to scale.
Yeah, I couldn't have that.
Okay.
I went to Asian park. Went to the big Jesus Christ on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of originals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so much of that. A lot of that.
And then I was like interested in Chinese stuff and like
Uh-huh.
dog cage, like cricket cage. Thank you very much.
You want to turn on the can lights, Howard? Huh? Do you want to turn on the lights, the can lights? Is that what you were looking for?
No.
Oh.
There's a chance.
Oh, you want the chancel lights. Okay.
For the flag, so nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you. Okay, I feel like we can go ahead and get started, and then people can file in as they arrive. But welcome, everybody. It's good to see you here on a Friday evening, and I think we have some people online as well, so thank you for joining us, whichever way you're here. We are thrilled to host this interfaith conversation on the idea of moving with integrity in the face of suffering. This event is a collaboration with the Jewel Heart Tibetan Buddhist Learning Center, and they are based in Ann Arbor, Michigan, but with chapters up and down the East Coast, and so we're just so excited to have Demo Rinpoche here with us from Michigan. It was great timing. All of our sliding scale donations will be split equally between our two organizations, and we thank you for your generosity. For those of you unfamiliar with the Unitarian Society of Germantown building, our restrooms are through this door and down the hallway, and if you just turn left before you reach the kitchen. We are live streaming this again, and you can access it afterwards if you go to the USG YouTube page. We'll spend about 45 minutes in conversation, and then we'll open the conversation up to questions from the audience. So if there's anything that you're interested in as the conversation develops, try to keep that in your head for later. And now let me introduce our two speakers. So many of you will know Reverend Hannah Capaldi, our settled minister here at Unitarian Society of Germantown. Reverend Hannah graduated from Union Theological Seminary in New York City, where she taught after school to 8th graders, served as a chaplain at a shelter for LGBTQ+ youth, and worked in the college program at Bedford Hills Women's Prison. Reverend Hannah comes to ministry with a passion for preaching an inspiring word, challenging her communities to live into their best selves and finding joy in pursuit of a better world. And Demo Rinpoche is our other speaker here tonight. Demo Rinpoche entered Drepung Losling Monastery in Mundgod at the age of 5 and officially joined the monastery in 1987, where he spent nearly 30 years of uninterrupted education and meditation, debate, memorization, philosophy, and composition under the Dalai Lama's direct supervision. After completing his studies at Drepung, Rinpoche received the highest monastic degree of Geshe Larampa, yes? From I'm happy to take feedback. From Gelugpa University in India in 2011. He continued his studies at Gyome Tantric College and was a visiting scholar under the auspices of the Dalai Lama at Sarah College of Higher Tibetan Studies in Dharamsala, India. In 2018, he received his master's degree in interreligious engagement, also from Union Theological Seminary in New York City. Currently based in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Rinpoche serves as teacher and spiritual director at Jewel Heart, a well-known Tibetan Buddhist center in the West. And with that, I will get out of the way and turn it over to them.
Thanks, Zoe. So I feel like it is worth pointing out that we went to seminary together. And Rinpoche says, I look familiar, but I definitely remember you sitting around in the cafe poring over your books. But we were there, I think, for the exact same 3 years, yeah? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to open with a question because you were there studying interreligious engagement, and here we are tonight having some interreligious engagement. And I'm curious from the Buddhist perspective, what can be gained from interreligious engagement?
Thank you. Make sure I can hear myself. When we look at many different religious perspectives, their view, and then each and everyone has their own background. Each and everyone has their own understanding of their religion and faith, and always feel that people who are in their religion and they have true faith in their religion, like they really believe that is the right thing. And I also, unless they have a wrong religion that is really destructive, most religion that well known, all of those, really believe in their religion. They learn compassion from their religion and moral practice from their religion. I feel like, their religion is working for them. And then how far it goes, and then definitely, how far you practice. Sometimes you want to go really far in your practice, maybe you need to learn from other tradition. As well as me, is really interested in other religion, which means not Buddhism, because I believe they have their own qualities there that I can learn something. And then, I was asked why you are so interested in Christianity, right? So I always say I like how they handle the community, how they support each other. They are very practical to help each other, right? And that I found it, and I think that is such a great thing in there. So learning from each other. Yeah.
When we first had our conversation, you were surprised to learn that Unitarian Universalism is not Christian.
Yeah.
Despite some of the iconography around here. So for those of you, how many of you are not familiar with Unitarian Universalism by a show of hands? Okay, a few folks. We'll give you a little bit of a primer, just so you know, and then I'm going to ask you to give a little bit of a quick and dirty overview of Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism. Yeah. So you can start thinking now, I suppose, how to condense thousands and thousands of years. So Unitarian Universalism, the way I describe it, is we are historically Christian, two Protestant denominations, Unitarianism and Universalism. Unitarianism came about pretty much since the death of Jesus Christ. People have been debating the nature of God, whether it was 3 parts, the Trinity, or 1 part, unity. So Unitarianism is rooted in the idea that Jesus was separate from God, and that God cannot be divided into man and otherwise, spirit. But that Jesus was no more the Son of God than any of us are children of God. That is the theology that we have been that has evolved into what we inherit today. So Jesus was a really important person that had a lot of important things to say, but he was not divine, any more so than any of us are divine. Unitarianism also emphasized the idea that because God is 1 part, that God can be found anywhere. It doesn't need to be mediated through a religious professional, a priest, a pastor, a reverend. You can access God anytime. And the holy can be found in the secular as well. Universalism has been around not as long. It came about in reaction to Calvinist doctrine, which said that only some people are saved. We believe in universal salvation. Everyone is going to heaven. Everyone has the capacity to be good. And we don't believe in hell. We don't believe that there's anything you could do in this life that could damn you to eternal suffering. So those are the sort of the 2 strands of it that came together in 1961 to form Unitarian Universalism. So this was originally a Unitarian society. We are now a Unitarian Universalist society. And I guess the last thing I would say is we are a covenantal faith, not a creedal faith. So what we do together is driven largely by how we want to act, less about how we think or what we believe, and more about how we want to be with one another. We have no dogma. We have no one scripture or one sacred text. We draw from all the world's religions as sources of inspiration, and we don't believe that any one faith has a monopoly on truth. So, yeah, that'll do for now. You want to tell us a little bit about Buddhism?
Okay. Hannah and I talked on Zoom, and she told me about Unitarian principle, right? And surely, I right, those are denominations, I really don't know what is their particular view here and there. And then, surely it shocked me. She said, we don't think Jesus is the Son of God. We don't believe in the Trinity, right? So then I she told me those principles on those pillars, right? And then later on, I just looked roughly on Google, and then I also found those points, and then I just look at Buddhism, and there a lot of things are similar there, So but I'm not saying it's same. So therefore, I have to say something about Buddhism.
And how it's different.
Yeah. So, one thing is, when we think about Buddha himself, even among Buddhist tradition, there's some belief Buddha is like enlightened being from beginning. Whatever he done in this world is all like kind of acting, doing it again and showing us how to be. And that's the Mahayana tradition's perspective. The others believe Buddha was born as a regular human being and meditate and practice and then become Buddha, enlightened being. They are talking about Buddha went through the 6-year intensive meditation. And that's why you can see Buddha's image like very skinny and like saying did not eat well of those 6 years. And then they are saying, he did that for 6 years, working so hard, that did not make him enlightened being. He became enlightened being when he got wisdom, right? Then he stopped doing those things, and then he started to eat, and then he got help from 2 women that gave him food, and then he sit under the tree and meditated one night, and then he become awakened, and he knows right what is the cause of happiness, ultimate happiness, and cause of suffering. So therefore, we don't have sort of also that many believe, but there's like main sort of structure of Buddha's teaching, and that is called Four Noble Truth. So the Four Noble Truth is answering where we got suffering and happiness without believing in their individual God that is providing everything for us. In Indian tradition, they have a creator God, they are destroyer God, right? And Buddha was like saying, no, it's not, because they are individual and that is taking care of us. Then the Four Noble Truth is about you got suffering because of your action and your mind. Once you have a bad action, you get suffering. When you have a bad mind, that mind causes bad action and then end up finding suffering. And then if you want to get rid of those suffering, you have to change your action. To change your action, you have to change your mind. Without changing your mind, you cannot change your action, and then you cannot find happiness. So therefore, technically looking, in Buddhism, you can get kind of spiritual attainment that, after we're talking about liberation, the liberation is you meditate, you practice, you change your mind, then you got liberation from negativity. And that is sort of your goal, right? And then similar to Unitarian Church, what I read, okay, maybe I was wrong. Here, like inherent value of beings.
Yeah.
And similarly, in Mahayana Buddhism, right, and they believe all beings have something called Buddha nature. So meaning is anyone can be enlightened being if they practice. It's not like no one is labeled or no one is like not having any good karma. Now I cannot get enlightenment. It's not there. It's like really inclusive. Doesn't matter what is your religion. Doesn't matter you believe or not believe, but you have a quality to be enlightened. So is that answering everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, the main practice is, I think I should mention that one. The main practice is change your behavior as you can, like following the moral practice. And then in order to make it perfect, meditation, that's second practice. And third practice is to improve your meditation and then doing the analytical things like reasoning and trying to improve your compassion through reasoning, try to eliminate your negative mind through reasoning, and that is called a practice of wisdom. Now, I think that's almost everything there.
That's almost everything. Okay. I remember when we had our first introductory conversation, one of the things that came up is the compatibility of Buddhism with science. And I know this is an important point for Buddhism in the modern world. And also for Unitarianism, this was a big point for us, which was that, in the 1700s, the rise in the ideas with the Enlightenment that rational thought could coexist with religious faith. And this idea that you could believe in science and also be a person of God. And I'm curious why does Buddhism, it sounds to me a little bit like from this reasoning thing you're talking about, there's a heavy emphasis on reason.
Yeah, thank you. That the Buddhism, as I mentioned earlier, seems like there's no dogma. Because Buddha himself threw away all dogma. That before there, he was born in palace, and surely there were culture and everything. He dropped everything there. He started to think new way.
Yeah.
And then basically, he to stop following just belief. He start to think through reasoning and trying to find the answer by his own insight. So because of that, in Buddhism, one thing is that even the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha himself said that in my teaching, is there something wrong? You can drop it. You don't have to take it because it's my teaching. Right? He was really open in that. And so therefore, in Buddhism is very sort of flexible there. So therefore, and then how can you drop something that Buddha said and it's not right? Because the reasoning is more important. If you have a logic, if you prove it, you are right, and you can follow that one, you should not follow something that Buddha said. Right? And then in the Buddha's teaching, not all are same, very different. Different teaching for different person. Because Buddhism believe if there's no single word that fix everybody's problem. And he believe each individual, they need different teachings to train and fix their problem. So therefore, even you are Buddhist, you don't have to take all Buddha's teaching as literally what it is. Right? You can, there's two Buddha's teaching, someone says something, someone says something, you can choose one. Right? So because of that, in Buddhism, main thing is a reason. And sort of, I think that's the reason why they are talking about truth, Four Noble Truth. Because truth is more important than, the religion.
Than
right?
fidelity to, what was said once.
That's why, there are one scholar, who went to India and everywhere, studied everything. He said that, the Buddhism is a religion that can go with science. Because, right, science is similar. If you cannot prove it, if then someone prove it wrong, then supposed to accept that part. Cannot be stubborn. So that's why, in Buddhist world, really trying to go with the science, they are doing a lot of discussions between science and Buddhism, because we're always being open. like, it's, it's, I think, worthy to mention, like, in Buddhist world currently, the most well-known is His Holiness Dalai Lama. And one time I was in Holland, in his teaching, he said that if someone prove Buddhism is wrong and we don't need it, right, it's not functioning, we don't need it. He said that we don't need it. So like I was a little bit like surprised. A religious leader, the main one saying, if our one is wrong, we don't have to have it. And that, I feel like the point is we are not someone that follow our faith and hold it, whatever it is. No, if we are wrong, we are ready to say, yes, that was wrong. We're going to change it. So that's why I think it's like working with science.
I also feel like there's something there about impermanence too. That truth is impermanent. It's sort of okay for a time.
Yeah.
And perhaps there's recognition that the time has passed. And that's also part of accepting the impermanence of things, that, it used to feel good and right and no longer does.
Yeah.
And if I can prove it, then we can set it aside.
Yeah, many, like if you ask me what is the main principle of Buddhism, it's like, cause and effect.
Uh-huh.
Right? They really believe in cause and effect. So many is, if cause doesn't matter for effect, okay, then Buddhism is wrong.
Uh-huh.
So they really believe there's a cause, there's effect. If there's no cause, there's no effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, I think, build on that understanding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to shift us a little bit towards the title of tonight's talk, which is around moving with integrity in the face of suffering. And we know that an understanding of suffering is central to Buddhism. Can you talk a little bit about suffering?
Yeah. When I say, when I think about talk about suffering, in that moment feel suffering.
You're suffering right now at the question?
Yeah. So in the Buddhism, when it comes to suffering, right, and that word, we're really like, using it all the time. And, when I talk here and there, I talk a lot here and there. So, and then, sometimes I get like feedback from people, I think you mean uneasiness, not suffering.
Uneasiness?
Yeah, not
Okay.
suffering.
Okay.
I said, yeah, maybe, So like, how you understand it. So in Buddhism, when we're talking about suffering, we're talking about 3 different sufferings. One suffering is called a suffering of suffering. And that is something that is really painful, right? The next suffering is happiness. The general happiness is part of suffering. Like, they're saying if you are very happy now, it can be changed into suffering because of that thing. So they call it interchangeable suffering, right? And then, the third one is like, the suffering is we are suffering because we are not perfect, right? We have problems. We are not perfect yet, and because of that, we are suffering. So therefore, I think the main reason to have thinking like that is, if you think you are perfect, if you think you have no problems, then you cannot fix anything. So therefore, like giving general idea, each and everyone is suffering and they need help. And that is, using main source to increase compassion. If you think someone is strong, perfect, great, in your eyes, they are suffering. So, you feel like, oh, they need my compassion. Yeah, so in that case, like, generally everyone is suffering, right? And they are one of those 3 sufferings. Yeah, so.
I feel like for me, when I think about suffering as a UU, we have a lot in our faith tradition around social justice. This idea of our responsibility, our moral obligation to address or face or even ameliorate suffering at sort of a systemic level. This sort of understanding of suffering as a thing that lots of people experience because there are systems of inequality. But Buddhism places such a heavy emphasis on the individual, and it's less about systems. And I'm curious how you think about, do Buddhists feel a sense of obligation to change the world, or just to merely learn how to like find peace within the world as it is?
Thank you. Actually, I think the Buddhism is individual's practice from beginning. It's not that religious practice. It's more like, spiritual practice. Buddha did not try to change any society in his life. He is giving teachings, people keep listening and keep following him. And through that way, and then he found a lot of students, and those students make a canon, put all his teaching together, and after that, there is Buddhism. So therefore, there's no such other things in Buddhism about how to run the country, right? Sort of things is not there, But as a Buddhist, based on Buddhist study, there are obligations, right? Your obligations, in order to help others, that there's teachings in Mahayana practice, especially in the Mahayana practice, and there's Bodhisattvas. And the Bodhisattva means who are on the path of enlightenment. They are like a sort of, I don't know, it's exactly same as saint, or they are not enlightened yet, but they are in very intensive practice. And then Bodhisattvas stories, many of them are being king, and they are being someone that's sacrificing themselves in order to help when they are king, they are sacrificing themselves in order to help their people, right? And then also a lot of in Buddhism they sometimes put a lot of animals there, and they have monkey king in order to save all his group, and they are just sitting next to poacher or hunter, let other go. These are there, so I think these are the teachings, about how one person can do for their society and to help. And then, some people, often make mistakes, not some, many people, when they're talking about suffering, right? And then they say, suffering is your sufferings from your karma.
Yeah.
So it looks like, you are the bad person all the time. But, it's not like that. You are causing a lot of sufferings for yourself, but, other people can give you suffering. You can give other people suffering too. Even though they are not being bad, they did not do anything, but you also can give them trouble. So that is there, you are as agent. It's not like your karma is agent and making you to do everything. It's not that. You are the agent. You are the causing problems, or someone, or your friend or enemy can be, someone that causes you problem too. Thank you.
Yeah, I relate to this idea of the individual having agency. That feels very resonant with Unitarian Universalism, right? That the individual, everyone has power. Everyone has power. And what you do with that is a choice you have to make.
Yes.
And you have to wrestle with that all the time.
Yeah.
And some days we are better at it, and some days we are not as good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, how do you think about integrity? What does living with integrity mean?
Be honest, right? So that is like, sometime, like, I really don't know what it means in Western society. Those words are sometimes changing based on where you use it.
Yeah.
I feel like that. But, I often tell people, whatever you do, well, like sometimes you do the business, you can be a little tricky, You don't tell people everything, when you have a business sometimes, But when you practice something to change yourself, grow your spirituality, I always say it's important that integrity. You should not cheat yourself, right? If sometimes we do that, like we change everything, people do that in Buddhist society, surely in Christian society, You want to say something else, you can take whole Bible with you and try to make it your support. It doesn't mean that, but in order to,
justify.
Yeah, in order to get benefit from there, and then you use that. And similarly, like in here, Buddhist society, some people also use the teachings. Even if they don't know, it's different, right? If they know, that doesn't mean that. But they want, it sounds like that. And then they are preaching to people like that. And these are like, I think it's sad. Very sad.
Yeah, there's, well, I find that sort of interesting that in all of the world's religions there are fundamentalists and charlatans and people using faith as cover to make their own goals, achieve their own ends. And I find it very interesting to hear, in the West we have such a sanitized idea of Buddhism. It is sort of, it lacks, I think people would be shocked to know that Buddhist fundamentalists have done a lot of violence. I think that feels very foreign to a lot of Westerners, this idea, it's very peaceful monks, yin and yang, sort of really, corrupted ideas of Buddhist practice. But the truth is, in all religions, there are people who practice it with integrity, and there are people who practice it without integrity.
Thank you. That's I always tell people, basically we are human beings. I tell people, don't believe all monks are great and peaceful, because person like you will become monk one day. Right? It's not like that, we got monks from heaven. Right? Ordinary people like you, and one day they say, I want to be a monk. And they say, are you sure? They say, yes, I want. Some people are very insisting. I was insisting, say, don't do it, don't be a monk, you can practice. But there are people really strong will, and sometimes people become monk, right? And then there's some people who have strong hatred, especially ignorance there, and those become monk, and then the monkhood become their sort of lifestyle, right? And then if they don't practice, if they don't change it, and they when there's a trigger, they forget who they are. right? And then, there are violence, the monks are, like bad things happen in Burma, like sad things happen like that. And then it's so funny, like if you look at back Buddhist history, who become Buddhist? Bandit become Buddhist monk. Right? Who are robbers, they become Buddhist monk, and then there are really good examples like that, So, and that, like fishermen become Buddhist monk, like all of from all sort of community, especially like in this individual thing. So, so therefore, like I think all religion, and they are great practitioners who really understand the compassion from their religion, the wisdom from their religion. And there are many people who become more ignorant, more stubborn because of their, taking their religion wrong way. Right? I always tell people, the Buddhism should be someone that make you more wise, right? And open those covers that covers your eyes. But some people, the religion makes them close their eye. And when someone say anything bad about Buddhism, they got upset, and they are showing their fist. That's wrong. Right? If you do that, then other people are right.
Yeah, right. You're proving their point.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but there are people like that because of taking religious wrong way. Taking religion as a helmet to block anything to come in, is see anything outside. Yeah, so I was really interested during the Buddha's time. He convinced some people to follow him, but he did not convince some people to follow him.
Yeah.
And he never said that you go there and teach Buddhism for them and change their culture or religion. He never said that. And then he believed all have purpose. All faith have their own purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
The last thing I want to talk about before we move to questions is for Unitarian Universalism, all of our values, our shared values, are centered and rooted in love. And love, it seems to me, is a fairly recent concept, actually. And it's particularly a Judeo-Christian concept. This, love your neighbor as yourself. And I'm really curious, in the reading that I have done on Buddhism, is love interchangeable with compassion? Because I do think that love is not a word that comes up in Buddhist texts very often. So I'm curious how you think about love. Is it a Western construct or?
When we bring whole Buddhism in the West, the biggest trouble is finding words in English. We have the word, we're trying to find it in English, and some people bring something else, and some people bring something else, and both of them are not 100% correct.
Yep.
So in Buddhism, we have two words. The compassion that we often use is the Sanskrit word, it says karuna, right? Karuna is your feeling of for getting rid of other people's problem, right? Right. If small animal fall in the water, almost dying, right? And then you want, I want to save that one. I don't want that little one suffering. And then that feelings, you want to get them out from the problem. And that is the karuna, compassion, right? The another word that use where translate it is most time loving kindness. Maybe it's different Buddhist tradition use different word, and that is more like your mind that want to help others. Like if you have a food, you want to share it to a friend, whether they like or not, kind of things, right? And that is the Maitreya, the word. Meaning is like, you are not ignoring them. You love them. You want to help them. It's not like you are seeing their suffering. More like, you cherish them, and that is. So these two things, it says, always goes together. If you have a one, another one comes automatically there. So, so therefore, like, we have this kind of, love in there, the Maitreya in there, it has a meaning, if it has a meaning. And then sometimes we use it, another words there, like, more like, like not harming, right? And the feeling of ahimsa,
Ahimsa, yeah.
right? So, and it's not talking about the practical action. You're feeling of don't want to harm other, and there's also, one emotion that associated with the love and compassion.
Interesting. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you keep asking about my thing. I kept telling everything. However, if I ask one thing,
I would love for you to ask one thing. Go for it. Yeah.
Like when you talk about there's inherent value for the word for everything, what that means.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I was wondering.
So in Unitarian Universalism, we believe that everyone has inherent worth and dignity. And I think depending on what kind of Unitarian Universalist you are, that might also be extended to everything, not just everyone. But the way I understand it is this idea that simply by being a part of the universe at this moment makes us a part of some kind of shared miracle. And whether you are the tree that gives me the oxygen, or you are the person who collects my trash, there is something about your existence that is of goodness.
There's a reason
Yeah.
to be that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason that they exist.
Okay.
And that we are connected. That my existence, the goodness of my existence, is connected to the goodness of their existence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now we know.
If any of you have questions for us, one of us or both of us, or don't be shy.
There we go. And as you're thinking, I'm happy to bring the microphone around so you don't have to get up.
Thank you both, first of all. One comment, just from what you've said, I think, just my perspective, if I may. I think that the commonality between Buddhism and science, I think there's both are, to me, are methods, not so much. In Christianity, there's more faith, dogma, certain things you're supposed to believe. In Buddhism, there's nothing like that, really. I mean, there's practices. Like if you want to achieve certain things, you have to do certain other things. But it's like come and see for yourself. So now a few words about me. I'm very big issues with authority in general. A very defined person. And also tend to be cerebral, like philosophy and analysis. So I do see a lot of truth within Buddhism. Obviously, I mean, I'm from Western, I'm Ukrainian, so I'm from Western, generally Eastern part of Western civilization. So there's a little bit of both in there. But so I'm come from Christian background, but so on one hand, I see a lot of truth, and I want to advance and practice and learn more. I read a lot, but then within Buddhism, there's a lot of these esoteric structures and there are a lot of hierarchies, and I understand that there's reason for that, but how do you combine that with a notion of more like universalist, democracy and more openness? How do you reconcile that? Is there a way to do that?
Thank you. This hierarchy business, it's like,
This hierarchy business, is that what you said?
Sort of, sometimes, I think, that's why, people ask me, is Buddhism a religion? Mm-hmm. Right? And then my question is, there are part that is religion, there's part that's not religion. There are, what is religion part, and then they are sort of something that mixes with culture and tradition, and then, without reason have to follow something, right? And that, becomes sort of religion things, right? So, and then, surely, my dressing, like I wear this clothes, this color, that is religion. It doesn't matter, I wear yellow, red, orange, green, black, white, right? But and that Buddhism comes from India, and then Indian culture, as a religious person, you have to wear something orange or something, because that represent the dharma, religious practice, right? And then you can see that in Hindu. And that comes to Tibet, and then color change a little bit, become a little darker. But still, it's there, and surely, I respect. So therefore, sometimes there is, this level business, or there's this higher, there's lower, and there's lower, in those some other tradition. And then surely there's not such a big meaning there behind. I personally, I'm not fan of those things. But I also don't mean that, upside down, I'm not doing the revolution, what. Sometimes during the cultural revolution, okay, now we will put upside down, right? But I don't see that much Buddhism in that, that thing, then how it works, even though it's there, how it works in democratic society, right? So in my lineage, we are called Gelugpa tradition. In the Tibetan Buddhism, there are many lineage, but there are 4 main stream. And that we are from Gelugpa tradition. And Gelugpa tradition has throne holder, and that represent and the teacher of that lineage. And that throne holder can be anyone. It's not designated to certain people. Sometimes, sometimes they have the bloodline things. Only this bloodline can be that throne holder. And sometimes we have in the system, someone just recognize a special one, chosen one as a kid, and then you can be. But in my tradition, you always saying, if your child have education, can be a throne holder, that throne holder, right? That is like kind of lifting up democracy a little bit. But yeah, but it's still, these are not actual, Buddha's teaching. What Buddha said in Buddha's teaching, Buddha give little there, this kind of
Yeah.
hierarchy or whatever. Sounds like Japanese to me all the time, that word. So, what he said, okay, when you say monks are sitting in the line, he say senior who, who joined the monastic earlier should be sit front. Who come later should sit later. Right? And that is, he made one like this kind of there. And then later on, when you commit the vow, I want to commit that, I want to commit that, and then you commit more number, and then, you also can just like, the who commit more can sit little front. It's more like, what you do. It's not like, other than that, there's no, like, even the epet, like also, the epet is like when the new monk come, who give the vow, that's his job. That's epet. It's not like he has a throne to hold. Yep. So, I personally, I'm not fan of those status. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Hi, thank you so much. Can you each compare and contrast justice in Buddhism versus justice in Unitarianism and similarities and differences, please?
Want to go first?
I think justice, from a Unitarian Universalist perspective, for me, what I really want to talk, what comes up for me in my body is something about wholeness and restoring everyone to wholeness, or making sure that everyone has what they need to experience wholeness. And that there's some, it's funny, I don't want to I'm tempted to say something along the lines of I'll know it when I see it. I can't say that I've ever seen it. It almost feels a little bit like a Platonic ideal at this moment. That's like this thing out there that I am striving for, but I couldn't really define it for you. I just know what it's not. But I do think that for Unitarian Universalism, it is, for me, I really feel it's about something about unlocking flourishing, about the ability of people to be unstopped, unloosed from what's holding them back, what's binding them to their suffering or to their inability to live the way they want to live, or how they deserve to live. I do think a lot of it is bound up in how I think about what we are owed or do or deserve in life. And that's feels very context specific. So yeah, that's my ramble on justice, Unitarian Universalist justice.
Thank you. Yeah. So, it's like justice is all the time we're struggling to explain that part, like, in the Buddhism, like, when we think about punishing a person by yourself, there's not that much meaning of justice. In generally, in the view of religious perspective, as I mentioned earlier, Buddhism is not like, the religion that has control all over the country to change the law. Some religion is like more like they are mixed with the country's law.
Yeah.
It's not that. So therefore, in Buddhist religious perspective, whatever you've done, you get bad result from that thing.
Yeah.
Someone else don't have to do it, right? For example, if someone did crime, right, then someone say, "Oh, we have to give him justice, so I will kill him," right? And then you did it, and at that point, you earn non-virtue, right? What you did is you earn that one. You don't get like excuse from there saying you did right thing and you did justice. No, So similarly, since we don't believe in individual God, there's no such a God to give the justice. Not there. But Buddhism respect law, right? And then in law, there's a way to whatever like social justice in law, like whatever there, and that is the law. Buddhism always in there saying, right? So it says respect the law. Where like also thinking there's a commitment like stealing, right? And then how much you can steal, and it say depend on the law, the people's law. What law says, and then from that, you are also practice. If law doesn't care about stealing $5, right, and you stole $5, you are sort of okay, You get a little bad karma, but still, it's not that serious. But if law thing is serious, at that point you did that's serious. So, respecting the general law is in Buddhism. Yeah, so...
Yeah, interesting.
Thank you.
So I guess my question is, are you here as like, what brings you here to have this talk today? And I believe, I don't know, but is there a greater mission, I guess, like, to sort of try to go out and help people or talk to people, help people feel comfort, ease, talk to them about being the justice you want to see, all those things. And I guess I'd also like to know how the Buddhists in India are dealing with the political sort of perspective of how Chinese are getting involved in their sort of making it about, they're sort of intervening somewhat and want to be able to choose the next Dalai Lama or put somebody in, and how,
Yeah,
I can't imagine, like, what is his advice for how to deal with, when
Suffering.
people make these decisions that are just not theirs to make,
yeah, thank you. So I'm sure you're asking me, right? So, I, as you know, sort of they have a big resume of me to read here, so you already hear everything there. Yeah, I stay in Michigan, Ann Arbor, and I do sort of, give talks occasionally there, and then we have chapters in a country. So, my sort of job that I think interesting to do is visit people there. You will have online system to reach, but I consider seeing them physically is much better. And then, I go here and there, and then, last time I came here in Philadelphia, we have a small group of people here. I talk, and then I got only 2 hours or 3 hours or something. I came morning and I run away afternoon. And this time I was in New York to talk, and then they asked me to come to Philadelphia. Then I thought, it's only 1 hour in the train. It's fun, 1.5 something, right? It's easy. Then I said, okay. And then what happened is when I'm going around, a lot of our chapters are hosting me in Unitarian Church, because a Unitarian Church have space for other tradition or religion, faith, or whatever. So, and then used to be going there and talking there, and like my friends, they know I go to Unitarian Church. So, and then I think they reach here. There's another Unitarian Church. Let's see, how interested, right, to go there and talk. So then for me, like I'm not like not hesitating to go anywhere to talk. Surely I don't go to any place and go there and against their faith or something. I don't have that kind of fear in me. So then I openly, if someone welcome me to talk, I'm happy to talk there. So then this thing happened, and then I thought that's interesting, because we're always saying sharing is caring. So we always say, we all beings be happy in our prayer all the time. And then, especially go to see other people and, share your own view, right? And honestly, when I go out, I always thinking, a lot of people have, a sort of kind of an expectation or imagination on me, like, oh, there comes another one. If I walk in New York City, they might thinking I will give them a mala and ask $5 after that. Right? So a lot of strange things there, So therefore, it's really great opportunity to talk to them, right? Show you are a human being. Show you are not that stubborn. Right? So, and that is and then learn from other, this time when we think about Christianity, we are only thinking about one piece. Right? Earlier time, then I know about Protestant and Catholicism, right? Okay, now there's two. Then I thought it's only two,
Right.
Right, and then when I listen, and then I don't really pick on everybody. That's not my job to find out. And this opportunity really I see there is something totally different than what I thought about, right? And really cool, being Christian and being able to hear about others, and then often, I personally believe that, I'm not just making it up. You can be Buddhist, but inside you can be a Christian.
Yeah.
You can be a Christian, but in your practice you can be Buddhist. And that is very possible, because it's nowadays religion is more like, sometimes it is, like how people identify you, sort of. It's not about who are you inside. I even think about myself, am I Buddhist or not? Look at other people, I'm not same as other. I don't believe exactly as how they believe.
Yeah.
I my own way of sort of things there, So, that's really interesting, and then especially when I think about Unitarian Church, I see there is future. Like, I'm not saying others have no future, okay?
Wait, so are we recording this? This feels like a clip for later.
Everyone has a future, but like sometimes I see like there is like a lot of new people nowadays struggling to follow our very, very traditional path. In Buddhist too, nowadays new kids, they don't want to be monk.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so like kind of that thing. And then what is the best way to give them the good practice? Right, and then sometimes, like the practicality is important than, like just being stubborn. So, yeah, I'm saying that here. I'm really interested. How to say, impressed.
Thank you. Does anyone else have questions? No, we got some more coming up. People are warming up.
Okay. I'm going to go to Howard and then Paula and then here.
Okay, just a comment about, I have a comment and a question. Okay, a comment about suffering is that what's helped me understand that from a Buddhist perspective is that phrase that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, because suffering is mental anguish, and there's other ways to deal with pain, because we all experience pain in our daily lives. So it's a little nuanced to hear suffering in English and to kind of connect it to the way that we live today, but that's the way I understand it. But the question that I have is, have you participated in any of the Tibetan sand mandalas that are made? Or could you talk about them, the sand drawings in sand?
Sand mandalas?
Yes, sand mandalas.
First thing, I did not make any sand mandala in my life.
Really?
And
You've never done it?
And that's like, a special skill for certain monks. I'm not a very ritual monk. I'm not like really interested to do all these beautiful artworks. I'm more
you didn't want to meditate today. I was like, maybe we'll open with a meditation, and you were like, I don't think so.
Yeah, because like I'm like thinker, and more like philosopher.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
Anyway. So, but I know a little bit about sand mandala. I can that when it comes to mandala, it's like sort of it's like a temple of deity. That's why it has 4 doors and 4 corners, right? And surely there's no kitchen and bathroom. So that's not for human being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that is like, when they are making these things, like, through the visualization meditation, and there are a certain meditation, and that you visualize those beautiful mandala, right? And then, visualizing you are in heaven. Right, and then they are thinking through that way, they can develop their spiritual practice. You can more benefit than thinking like you are ordinary and you are in your own room. Right, and then creating that thing, it takes like 4 or 5 days. Like it's hard work. And I think nowadays they are using the instrument, right? And then earlier time they have used their own thumb and make it. Like I think sometimes in Buddhism there are a lot of these things. If you really want something, you have to work very hard to achieve it, and then they give you like sort of physical task to do something. Then unless you are very enthusiastic, you cannot finish those things. And that's one way to push you away. It's so funny in the Buddhism, they try to push you away most time. Okay, you're not there yet, wait there.
Yeah.
They do that. Thank you.
Hello? Oh. Can you talk about meditation and meditation for the ordinary person who may have
Thank you.
been taught, but...
I recognize meditation is, what I understand, morality is about what? Training your body and your speech. Don't say bad things about others. Don't lie. Training your speech, right? And then don't steal, and don't do that, do that. Morally training your body, right? So meditation is more about training your mind, right? So, and then how you train your mind. And the first practice is like, make sure your mind listen to you, right? And then how your mind listen to you. Like, then at that point, your mind can be a child, right? And then to make sure your child listen to you is like first say, sit here and don't stand up, right? You tell a child, oh, log on my computer and like write email, they will not do it, right? The best thing is you say, please sit down until I come back. And so therefore, like meditation is telling your mind, sit down with me and don't think about those funny things, right? So starting point is, there's two options. Maybe think about only one thing, or don't think about anything, right? And then some traditions, they teach you eliminate your thought, right? Even don't think and don't sleep, right? So, and then some traditions give you mental object, like could be a lotus flower, could be a color, could be any your religious object, cross or whatever. And then the main thing is you are keeping your mind just focus on there, right? And that is you start meditation through that way. And then if you are good, and then what you do, you have to examine your mind, right? Like maybe there comes the integrity, right? Am I being honest or not? Is that right or wrong? Right? And then sometimes you think you are doing right, but then you will sit and meditate on your mind, you are not doing the right thing, you are doing wrong thing. Your heart tells you that is wrong, right? So like, and then examining your mind is the main purpose of meditation, right? And then through that way, fixing your problems, and through different methods. There's too many things to talk about. Yeah. So if you want to meditate, is first make sure your mind listen you to sit down, right? And after that, try to focus on yourself and see. Sometimes I do, and that's kind of general things. When sometimes I'm not happy, not knowing why I'm not happy, and sit and meditate. Why I'm not happy? Which kind of emotional thing that making me not happy, right? And then you look around. Sometimes I find, I want something else, I'm not getting that one. Right? And then sometimes it helps you give up with those ideas. Sometimes like I'm doing something nonsense or something that is not that important. For example, you are trying to write an article. You are not doing well there, and that's big thing in your head. And then after that, you are doing something else. You are not happy. You sit down. Why you are not happy? Because that part in your mind, you are not satisfying there. And then sometimes I say, okay, just go there and delete those things. Right? Give up. And then, you have nothing to think about it, and that helps. Sometimes, like, that's example, right? So it could be like more than that. And then sometimes, I'm not happy because I'm only too much thinking about myself. Right? So, like, helps, examine your mind and trying to find out where is the problem, and then, give up with that thing. Thank you.
I think probably one more question.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do you still have one? No? Okay. Okay.
I think one of the unifying pursuits that, no, maybe that's not right. One of the factors that would unify connection and break through is ethics. I think ethics itself is universal. And that has the potential for us to be listening. We can listen deeply to each other. And the thing about the mandala was that it is an extreme example of no matter how intricate and how beautiful and how the effort is put out, it's all impermanent. It's all impermanent. And everything is flowing all the time, fluid, just moving through. We have this perspective, my life, this moment, these events, but actually it's just moving so quickly. And if we can hold that, we can understand how precious this moment is and how we are precious for each other. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's great. So this kind of topic, if we talk, we can talk few days.
Yeah.
Right, like there's a lot of things sharing, there's common things there, as you mentioned, ethics, right, and then compassion, then interdependent. A lot of things there. And even I was, often thinking about the idea of God. When I was in school there, I keep reading those, theologians' idea about God, their different, view of God. And then, it's sometimes feel like how you describe one thing from all different directions, right? Sometimes you have better explanation from some directions, but you have sometimes narrow explanation from narrow direction, and I think it's still you are explaining about same thing, so who get right, and that is also, I think there's no one word that one got right, but everyone got right some part here and there, but no one got everything right, maybe. Yeah, so if you believe in God, there are many different religions because of God.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't believe in God, also that there are many different religions, not because of there's no God, right? And then people can think whatever they want. So anyway, there's a lot of things. So that's it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
You,
Yeah.
Hannah, and all of you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Let me give you the microphone, Colleen. That's okay.
Hi, sorry about that. Rinpoche is going to be at the Tibetan Buddhist Center, Chenrezig Tibetan Buddhist Center, tomorrow from 10 to 12. And there's a lot going on tomorrow in Philadelphia. So if you would like to join virtually, you can do that. Just go to the website, Chenrezig Tibetan Buddhist Center. Thanks a lot for your time. Sorry about that. We do have cards over here with free teachings.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us. I hope that you got a lot out of this conversation. Hopefully, more interfaith collaborations in our future, but grateful for this conversation. And thank you all for joining us on a Friday evening. Get home safe, and we'll see you soon.